News just coming into our newsroom. 2 fugitives wanted by the FBI, including a longtime accused LA gang leader, now in custody tonight.
A True Crime News exclusive, never before seen surveillance video of the crime as it unfolded. The father and son suspects trying to cover their tracks. Was it pre-planned or a robbery gone wrong?
Big U, everybody know Big U and Nipsey had an argument, homie.
Felt it was like super messed up because at the end of the day, it was me and Big Useless in there when it happened. So when it happened, I wish I could have just told him like, bro, just give up the jury and we get it back to you later. But it just happened so fast and he wasn't cooperating.
Things are getting real messy in the hip-hop game right now. And at the center of it all, Big U. Yeah, you heard that right. We're talking leaked wiretaps, wild RICO charges, and claims of extortion that pull in some of the biggest names like Nipsey Hussle and PnB Rock. This whole situation is blowing up like fans have never seen before. So here's the deal.
And that's when they took it off of him by force. You get what I'm saying? Give it up and then check in with the real people.
The feds just dropped some serious files that show a dark side to what looked like charity work. We're talking forced check-ins, shady donations, and all kinds of stuff that's raising eyebrows. All of it supposedly tied to Big U's so-called non-profit group. But from the looks of it, that organization might have been a whole front for something else. Word on the street is Big U was using that charity to secretly pressure artists like Nipsey and PnB Rock.
And Big U had Nipsey Hussle killed. They wanted to exploit Nip family. That's why Nipsey Hussle's family, Black Sam, them, that's why they closed everything down. They wanted to exploit them people.
And folks are saying that might have even played a role in their deaths. That's a huge accusation. And it's got the whole game shook. And get this, now there's talk that Quando Rondo could hit the stand and testify against Big U. For real? People are asking, did Big U really admit to extorting Nipsey and PnB Rock? And is Quando really ready to flip and speak up in court? Here's where it gets even crazier. Big U's been caught red-handed on federal wiretaps, spilling some heavy stuff. The feds released those tapes, and what he said, straight up terrifying. In one 2023 call, he said plain as day that if anyone messes with him, they're gonna end up 6 feet under. I don't care who it is. Ninja tried to beef with me, I'm taking him out, period. I'm gonna end him. That's what he said, clear as day. Then, on a call from New Year's Eve 2022, Big U went off again. What you see online, y'all listening to folks who got nothing better to do but talk. Let me break it down for you. If I had beef with any man, no matter his color, crew, or crown, it would have been handled. Either he wouldn't be here, or I wouldn't. That's Big U talking with full confidence like he's untouchable. Ain't no kid game going on. Nobody in this place been around longer than me can step to me and think I won't hold my ground. I'm still exactly who they say I am. Whew. If that gave you chills, buckle up, because this ain't even the wildest part. What came next in Big U's RICO case had jaws dropping. This man was out here pushing a clean image, fronting like he was all about community uplift.
He has donated every year to the organization. I think he gave us $25,000 last year for the football organization. In the terms of we bought football jerseys, uniforms. He paid for our field. He's performed 2 times for us a year for the football program. He by far he's done far more for the Crenshaw community than any person up to.
He launched a nonprofit called Developing Options, and even had his own music label, Unique Music, working with rising stars like Nipsey and Cup. Looks solid on the surface, but behind the scenes, it was a whole different game. Turns out that nonprofit was allegedly just a disguise for a criminal empire moving heavy in extortion, trafficking, and possibly even murder. Yeah, the feds ain't playing with this one. For now, let's stick to the extortion charges, because they alone are explosive. Court records say Big U's crew wasn't just running check-ins. They were pulling cash out of businesses, legit and shady ones. They went after the easy targets, hitting up gray market players who couldn't really fight back without exposing themselves. These weren't just empty threats. Real people got hit hard. One victim listed in the documents, a promoter who was heavy in the club scene and also dealt with those off-the-books marijuana dispensaries. The feds got recordings and payment trails that paint the whole thing crystal clear. This wasn't charity work. This was a full-blown hustle wrapped in a suit and tie. Henley and Robinson, aka Vay, weren't even trying to hide their threats. They straight up told people, pay up or face the consequences. And when it came to shaking people down, Big U had no problem taking it to the streets. He didn't just threaten, he acted. When victim one stopped sending in the money they owed, Big U hit him with a robbery just to prove a point. If you didn't pay, you were getting hit. Then you had to pay again just to get your stuff back. Wild, right? But here's the twist. Big U had no idea the feds were already deep in the mix. Victim one, he was secretly working with the feds the whole time. They gave him money for the extortion payments, wired him up, and caught Big U making major self-incriminating moves on tape. It was all part of a setup to take the whole operation down. And that wasn't the end of it. Court docs also mentioned victim two. According to those records, Henley, Robinson, and a dude named Martin extorted this second victim at Deja Vu, a well-known international adult club in LA. It went down on December 2nd, 2021. The whole thing got rehashed later in a recorded phone call on January 20th, 2022, where Robinson and victim one talked about what went down. The feds backed it all up with recordings, interviews, and even social media receipts. Here's where it gets even messier. Henley threw himself a birthday party at Deja Vu. He made a deal to take about 33% of the bar profits for the night, promising that big-name rappers would pull up. But then, he flipped the script, demanding all the money from the night, and threatened serious violence if they didn't give it up. Now, the court docs don't drop names when it comes to the victims, but fans, they're connecting dots. A lot of folks believe that Big U might have been running the same game on Nipsey Hussle and PnB Rock. And according to the indictment, his relationship with Nipsey wasn't all love and mentorship either. You'd think he'd protect his own artist, especially one coming up under his label. But nope. The court says otherwise. Back in 2008, Henley kicked off a relationship with rising rapper Ermias Joseph Asghedom. The world would come to know him as Nipsey Hussle. Things started out smooth, but it didn't last. After a few years, they had a major fallout over some studio equipment at Henley's shop. And that beef pushed Henley to step back from the industry for a while. According to Henley himself, Nipsey even dropped a diss track aimed at him. But Henley wasn't trying to battle on a mic. He said, "I'm a scrapper, not a rapper." And he meant that. Even though they supposedly made peace, Henley later admitted in a docuseries that he picked Nipsey up one morning so he could get disciplined for that diss song. Yeah, like he was about to check him in real life. But things didn't go down that easy. Nipsey's brother stepped in and shut it all down, told Henley straight up that Nipsey wasn't going anywhere. Then it got real. LAPD files show that violence broke out at the scene, and when officers pulled up, a gun had already gone off. That tells you right there. This wasn't some little disagreement. The tension was real, and according to folks close to the situation, it wasn't just about music or ego, it was about money. Word is Big U had a pattern, especially when it came to celebrities. He'd hit him with pressure to donate to his nonprofit. And Nipsey, he wasn't spared. Reports say Big U tried that same tactic on him multiple times. Just take a look at this post's caption. Crenshaw Rams taking all fades. Cause SBS got that new drip. We the shooter having fun. Bet y'all high as chapters. Can't do it like me. 11 and up was free. Only $150 fee, and we still doing it bigger every weekend. It sounds like celebration on the surface. But some are saying it was code for something much deeper. Big U posted a message that looked sweet on the surface, but some folks saw straight through it. The caption read, "Crenshaw Rams wanted to go back to paintball. I spend my free time with these babies and younger people. I love to put smiles on their faces. I'm gonna need a loan now. This Crenshaw fund is killing my pockets. I have to say thank you, Nipsey Hussle, for making this last 2 weekends happen for the team. Your money is working for these kids. We have one more weekend. When can you come? Sounds like community work, right? But behind the scenes, people believe this was just another way Big U was squeezing Nipsey for money, using the kids and charity talk to guilt trip him into handing over more cash. According to court docs, Big U wasn't just collecting donations. He was allegedly embezzling those funds straight out of his nonprofit. He kept the image clean in public, but the paperwork tells a whole different story. And yeah, Nipsey eventually caught on. He wasn't feeling it anymore and started pushing back. But that's when things took a dark turn. Word is, when Nipsey put his foot down and stopped giving in, Big U got real bold.
Made it don't mean your $1 million will be broke.
Fans now believe that Nipsey refusing to pay up in those final days played a part in what happened to him. They're even saying Big U might have had a hand in setting things up.
I watch more work.
Now, most folks point the finger at Eric Holder. He's the one who pulled the trigger and ended up locked up. But here's what's making people uneasy. There's a clip of Big U just hours after Nipsey's death, laughing. That alone had fans raising questions. Why laugh after something that tragic? And that's not the only case. People think Big U ran the same playbook on PnB Rock. In September 2022, PnB was gunned down inside a Los Angeles restaurant, right in front of his girlfriend. The shooter came for his chains, and when PnB resisted, that was it. Police later arrested a father-son duo, Freddie Trone and his teen son, Tremon Jones. Cops say Freddie sent his son in to do the robbery, and that sealed both their fates. But some fans still aren't convinced it was just a stick-up gone wrong. Everything seemed like a random robbery, until Big U sat down in an interview and made a bold claim PnB Rock could have avoided his fate if only he had checked in. Yeah, he really said that. See, court documents back it up. Big U ran a whole system.
PnB Rock at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. You know, when it come down to that situation and everything like that, what are your thoughts on what happened to PnB?
I mean, it could happen to everybody. Just to be honest with you, I have spoken on that. It's about greed. You mean greed, envy, same thing I did. I mean, I did that. I was on the other side of, I grew up and I lived on the other side of what PnB Rock was. And we, in our lost mentality, we didn't see that like I see it now as an adult. We in LA, when I go to Chicago, I respect Chicago wholeheartedly. I check in. When I go to Atlanta, I check in. When I go places, I check in. And I don't think nobody is safe.
See, court documents back it up. Big U ran a whole system around these so-called check-ins. But it wasn't just a friendly heads up, it was intimidation wrapped in protocol. According to the indictment, the Big U enterprise controlled Los Angeles like a kingdom. If you were a pro athlete, a celeb, a rapper, anybody trying to move in LA, legally or not, you had to check in with Big U first. No exceptions. This check-in wasn't just a hello. You had to pay up and ask for permission, whether you were hosting an event, doing business, or even carrying out street activities. And if you skipped it, you were basically signing up for trouble. Big U even had a whole podcast about it called Check In. The theme song spelled it out clear. When you hop off the plane, check in. Penthouse suite, check in. When your feet hit the street, check in. Because if not, shit get hot. You better check in. So yeah, it was more than just a saying, it was a threat. That system gave the Big U enterprise the power to greenlight anything, even acts of violence. And if you didn't fall in line, you were on your own. Now fans are connecting the dots. A theory's been heating up that PnB's robbery was no random hit. They think it was staged to pressure him into checking in. Fuel got thrown on that fire when a Crip named Loose Cannon claimed he and Big U were actually in the restaurant when PnB was killed. Even more shocking, he said straight up, all PnB had to do was check in, and he'd still be alive.
Rock got killed in the
Roscoe's.
Yeah,
So I felt it was like super messed up because at the end of the day, it was me and Big Useless in there when it happened. So when it happened, I wish I could have just told him like, bro, just give up the jury and we get it back to you later. But it just happened so fast and he wasn't cooperating. And that's when they took it off of him by force.
Some folks call it a conspiracy. Others think it's the cold truth. And just when you think it can't get crazier, boom, SKG, a former death row artist, dropped a bombshell on Instagram. She said, let's talk about how Big U been extorting Kurupt for years. Now that's a whole other level of messy. He beat Kurupt like a runaway slave, SKG claimed. Had him screaming for his mama right in front of Snoop and Daz. That's what she said went down. Total disrespect. She said Big U stormed into Kurupt's trailer while he was shooting a music video and laid hands on him like it was personal. Then walked off, laughing about it like it was no big deal. Told SKG the whole story like it was just another Tuesday. She just looked at him like he'd lost his mind. And what's even wilder, Kurupt still calls this man Big Bro. SKG wasn't holding back. She said, "Don't say I'm lying. There were a lot of people there." How do you treat someone like that and still act like it's love? That ain't family, that's fear. But here's the real kicker. SKG ain't the only one Big U should be worried about. Word is, Quando Rondo might take the stand too. Yeah, that's right. Quando's been deep in the gang world, and he's had his fair share of legal issues lately. So it makes sense he might flip to save himself. And if he talks, it could bury Big U even deeper. Let's be real. Big U's facing serious heat right now. From court docs to wiretaps to witness statements, it's all stacking up. The extortion claims ain't just rumors anymore. It's looking like a whole criminal empire was built behind the scenes. And if Quando Rondo really testifies, that might be the final blow. But what do you think? Did Big U really extort PnB Rock and Nipsey Hussle? And is Quando really about to take the stand and spill everything? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your people. This story's far from over, and we're gonna keep bringing you the truth. See you on the next one.